Kilo November testing. Going down a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Golf 0, uniform, Kilo November testing. That's about it. Okay, yeah, evening to you, Mark. I'm still setting up at the moment, hence carriers and things. I'm a bit late sorting it all out tonight, because I've had lots going on and been out all day. M0JCS, G0UKN.
Yeah, G0UKN, M0JCF returning. Yeah, what I did, I was actually setting up about 5-10 minutes before, before you, and then I just check the transmitter. Then Dav messaged me, so I was looking at Dav's message. Then I went into the kitchen to get myself a glass of water. Blah blah blah. I came in, I thought I've got no receive going on here. I took the receiver. I got the Eddystone 840C on tonight, and I took the receiver out of standby and it was howling. I thought, oh no, not the receiver's busted. Then I realised the AT5 had been in transmit for 5 minutes or so. So yeah, I'm just going to stick tonight with the AT5 and then go with the flow on that. As you say, you can normally hear me, and I've got a proper ground on the receiver this month. Last month, if you remember, I didn't have a proper ground and I was having trouble hearing everyone, but all working okay. And I'm actually streaming this, live streaming it on one of my Facebook radio groups, rather than just a plain recording. I'm doing a Facebook live, so trying to encourage people to join in, Guy. So I'll just say we're on 1.908, a lower sideband, although I am using AM. A lower sideband is where Guy will be calling out. So I'll hand it back to you, Guy. G0UKN, M0JCF in the Cray Valley top band net.
UKN. I'm probably drifting a bit because I literally haven't switched this rig on soon enough. But what I will do is I will call out to see if we've got some members joining us, because it's now that time of day. So this is Golf 0 uniform, Kilo November. Listening for any members of the Cray Valley Radio Society or anybody else who wants to join for the monthly top band net. G0 UKN listening. Something with Papa in the call sign. Yeah, Mike 7, Italy, Papa Yankee. I wonder whereabouts you are. Presumably not still in the Lake District. Evening to you, Dave. Not hugely strong, but fully copyable. Anybody else? No one else at the moment. So M7IPY and M0JCS. So I'll put it round to you first, Mark, JCS, and then if you want to give a shout across to Dave IPY. M0JCS in the Cray Valley Group, G0UKN.
Okay, G0UKN, M0JCF in the Cray Valley top band net. So far in company with Dave M7IPY. I've got convoluted switching, as you know, with this old gear. I've got to switch the transmitter, the Codar AT5, between standby and transmit. I've got to then switch the aerial between transmit and receiver, and then I have to put the Eddystone into standby. So there's always a delay with me coming back, and likewise I miss normally the first couple of words of anyone who comes back to me immediately. But I would say, Guy, that you're 5 and 9 plus everything as always. This little 840C, and I say little, it's a monster. This 840C has got one of those magic eye indicators, and I don't know if you've seen them. I can't remember the number. It's an exclamation mark on its side. Well, it doesn't do anything, and I keep meaning to build a little external signal meter, but these radios use a live chassis, and every time you go into the forums and say, does anyone know where you tap off for the signal meter, you get all the big, metaphorical sharp intakes of breath, where they're all no, don't do that, it's a live chassis. And I think, yeah, I bet it'll all be totally isolated. You won't be able to touch anything. Anyway, that's the setup. Running about 4 or 5 watts carrier, and I seem to be modulating up to about 8 or 9 watts. So it's a little bit weak. I'm not going through any transmit tuner, so I've got an SWR of about 6 to 1. But obviously the AT5 doesn't mind, because I left it sitting there for 5 minutes in transmit. So it obviously doesn't mind a high SWR. The receiver is going through a Macklin aerial tuning kit, or aerial tuning unit kit. That's on the receive side, just to peak the noise slightly, and so everyone's loud. So that's the setup here. I'll tell you what I've been up to radio wise, specifically sporadic E on 10 and 6 meters on my next over. So Dave, if you can hear me, it's round to you. M7IPY from M0JCF in the group.
I've got a feeling you're not hearing Mark. Round to you, Dave.
Very terrible signals for us. F8 noise. I'm operating traffic mobile. Up and down the seat. I might try and reposition myself, so I won't have this over for a while. I apologise to Mark, I can't hear Mark whatsoever. Back to you, G0 UKN, with 97 IPY traffic mobile.
G0 UKN returning. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling this 2000B is drifting like a good one as well. I'm moving things about. I'm not sure if it's the AT5 is drifting or whether the 2000B is drifting. I've got a feeling it's the 2000B is drifting. Okay, right, yes. I've got everything you said on that last over, Mark, but you're not terribly strong. I have heard you much stronger on that AT5, so signals are not great this evening. So if we've only got you, me and Dave can't hear you, or can hear you, sort of knows you're there but can't copy you, this is probably going to be a short net. But it's sort of, we're very much into full sunshine.
On a very hot day, so not altogether surprising. I'm running the Rolly Shears 2000B this evening, but literally it's been switched on for sort of 5 or 10 minutes. What else? Yeah, sporadic here. I saw one of the new guys worked Black Forest today on 10 metres using the end-fed wire that he created at the club the other night, so that was very pleasing. This is the first contact I've made in a few days. I haven't been on radio at all. I've finished restoring the 1955 Studebaker car radio. That's now done, except I can't put it back together until a 3.5mm headphone jack with an interrupt turns up, because he wants an auxiliary input on it, and I need to, and I didn't have the appropriate jack. So as soon as that jack turns up, I can put the whole thing back together, and then I will put your 101E on the bench next, Mark. Dave said he was going to try and move positions because he's struggling a little bit where he is. And I hope I'm not drifting too much. Okay, anybody else want to join the Cray Valley Monday evening net? We have M0JCF and M7IPY. Anybody else want to join?
G3WMR, Golf 3 Whiskey Mike Radio.
G3WMR. Yeah, good evening, Frank. Nice signal as normal. I say you've got Mark and you've got Dave. Do you want to take it over, Frank?
Roger, Roger, from G3WMR.
Quite funny guy. You just started drifting. You weren't drifting at all, and you said I might be drifting a bit, and at that point you started drifting, as far as I could see. It was quite amusing. Maybe it's the heat. Anyway, very good evening. I heard everyone. I heard Mark. I heard Dave IPY. I heard you guys.
myself, so we're all here. I sorted out the aerial yesterday afternoon. It's a bit lower down than it normally is because the anchorage point came apart at the end of March. The end of March? Yeah, in the end of March. And I hooked it back a bit lower down, and I realised it's off tune with the aerial lower down. But one of these days I'm going to try something different. I want to try an end-fed quarter wave, not a half wave with a 49-to-1 balun, just an end-fed quarter wave with inductive loading near the end at the house end. It'll go from the feed point in the garden up to a tree at the end of the garden, and then back towards the house, sloping down where I can make adjustments to the tuning. That's my next top band project. Anyway, I went on 4 meters on Friday. There were just 3 of us, Dave NOW, myself and Mike DBE. So keeping the flag flying a bit anyway on some of the bands. So back round to you, Guy, but probably it's Mark's turn, I guess, from G3WMR.
Yeah, G3WMR, G0UKN. I was going to say something, I was going to comment on something, and it's gone completely out of my head, but you're a good signal, Frank. What the heck did you mentioned something then, and oh yeah, I know what it was. A tuned inverted L quarter wave is exactly what I use, Frank. So my one, it goes up about 25 feet, and then along, and then I have a trap, which I've made out of coax, and so it's a coax trap. So the first part of it then is resonant on 80 meters, so it's a quarter wave inverted L on 80 meters, and then there's an extension wire after the trap until I get a resonant point at 160. So it's an 80-160 resonant trap, resonant quarter wave base. So at the base, it's fed at the base, lots of radials in the grass, and then goes up 25 feet and along whatever feet to make it, I don't know, 60-something feet, and then the trap at the 80-meter resonance point, and then it carries on, and it works very, very well for me indeed. I get amazing reports on both top band and 80 meters on it, so I can thoroughly recommend it, and I think it's all down to getting a decent ground out of it. Okay, right, before I pass it round to Dave, IPY, to see if he's found a new spot, anybody else want to join the Cray Valley Monday evening there? Nothing heard. So I wonder where you are now, Dave. M7 IPY, mobile or portable, G0UKN in the group.
So I can put these diameter, but that's the export around the car. I don't know if that makes any difference whatsoever, but I'm thinking direct sunlight, direct sunshine at the moment, and as you were moving to finish, which is not being good. Understandably, our G3 schedule, WMR, your stereophonic FM, beautifully, it's fantastic, FM3, FM to me. I won't hold it long, I'm going to start here, but so I'll pass it back to you, and when you pass it back to Mark, I think, so G0UK integrated.
Yeah, M7 IPY, G0UKN. Well, you're definitely stronger than you were on the first over in Dave, but I didn't get, I know you've moved across the car park. Whereabouts is this car park? Where are you, mate?
From the A2,
Oh, okay, that's probably why you're quite a good signal for Frank WMR as well. Okay, well, I'll pass it around to Mark and see if he can hear you. And then Mark, if you want to pass it on to Frank maybe. M0 JCS, G0 UKN in the group.
Yeah, G0 UKN, M0 JCF. Yeah, I can hear everyone perfectly, including Dave. I think my problem is I'm on low power. Obviously, I'm only a 5-watt carrier, and I'm not giving it a lot that I can see from shouting into the microphone. And of course, I've got an SWR of about 6 or 7 to 1. I'm not going through an ATU on the transmit side. I just couldn't be faffing around with it tonight. It was just one of those things. I thought, yeah, I'm just going to use the tune and load on the AT5 to give me the best match. I'm only putting out just under 20 milliamps on the AT5. So, yeah, Frank, very good evening to you as well. So, Frank, you probably heard me saying I'm using the Eddystone 840C that hasn't got a meter. So I'm estimating you're the usual 5 and 9 plus, as is Guy, and I'd estimate that Dave is probably about 5 and 8, 5 and 7. Now, I've been looking at the grey line. The grey line is currently over Poland, Germany, Italy, blah, blah, blah. So we're still quite a way into daylight. But I've been looking on the Derby SDR, and interestingly, well, Guy, as always, you're putting in a really good signal into the Derby SDR. Frank, your signal was quite bright on Derby SDR. I think you're both below Santiago 7, but you was obviously getting off or refracting around the ionosphere. And then while I've been speaking, I have noticed the faintest of faint carrier lines from me, but it comes and goes. So I'm just checking now, and I can't add, no, I don't think I can see anything. I think it's wishful thinking. The signal meter's sitting around S4 now in Derby. But okay, so yeah, the last couple of days, the sporadic E has been almost quite predictable in the mornings and afternoons. I haven't checked Jim Baker's. Oh, look, there's my signal. I'm being seen in Derby. There you go, with less than 10 watts in daylight on top band. But anyway, I haven't been checking Jim Bacon's prop quest lately, but I have been checking Ionoson's data, etc. And the MUF has been getting up, really, getting up towards 2 meters at some points. But it's solidly been in the 10 meter, the 6 meter and 4 meter range. I have only been operating on 10 and 6 meters, and in fact yesterday was very good on 6. I sat for about, I think it was 13 minutes, because I was in my loft on the IC 7300. I was in the loft, and it was about 45 degrees up there. So I gave it, I saw on the clock it was 13 minutes, and I made 6 contacts on 6 meters into Italy. All Italy they were. And it's because my antenna, I've got a dipole in the loft, and it radiates southeast and northwest. So, you know, Italy was right in the path, and there was a big E cloud over central France, so there was no great surprise there. Today I went on 6 meters, and I managed to speak to someone in Sweden at 1,000 miles distance off the end of my dipole. He was really right on the null of my dipole, and I was 5 and 5 to him, 5 and 3 to me. So yeah, been plenty of sporadic here around. I would imagine when the weather cracks at the end of this week, next week, it will probably become a bit more unpredictable. But at the moment, almost set your watch by it, certainly after 4 p.m. in the afternoons and in the mornings. But then, you know, sometimes it's patchy, sometimes it's solid. Anyway, I'll land it round to you. I think it's Frank, G3 WMR from M0 JCF in the Cray Valley top band net.
I was on AM because I was listening to Mark. It was much better on AM, needless to say, than on SSB. I wonder on Dartford Heath, when you say in the middle of Dartford Heath, I wonder, Dave, whether you were talking about the road that comes up from near Halfords, that road, or the road that comes up from Crayford. If you're on the road that comes up from Crayford, there's a little bit more space there to some extent than there is on the other one, because the other one I can't get in anyway because it's got a low height barrier. But be interested to know which bit of Dartford Heath we're talking about. I was listening on Derby and hearing most people. I was just trying to tune Mark in on Derby at the end there. I think I was imagining Mark to some extent, but I think you could hear yourself on there, which is quite good going. Right. Anyway, I'm not sure that Nick Guy's place there. I'll put it around to Guy, and you can say what the order is. Over.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 4 of us, so I don't think there's a huge, I don't think there's a huge amount of order to speak of, yeah, let's just put it round to, well, I'll take it over and then we'll put it round to Dave. While I'm doing here, hang on, let's turn that up ever so slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll just turn that up ever so slightly. Yeah, I don't know what this rig is doing actually. I might bottle out and use the 7300 in a minute because I'm sure the 2000B is drifting. I've had the VFO apart 3 times in this 2000B and I still think I've got a problem with it. They were never very good in the first place, but this one's been a real nightmare. And I know Rowley had it apart a couple of times because I could tell that it had been apart previously. Yeah, so I had a nice day today. I went down to Upnor today, so lower Upnor where the riverbank is. I found myself a spot under a tree and had a salad and a cold drink. Under a tree, right down on the river there, and sat there for a couple of hours and had the radio on quietly. And then I popped in to see one of my Caroline mates, who's on the air at the moment. Funnily enough, that he's actually recorded this evening. My mate Rob. So spent a couple of hours with him and Sue, and. We were initially mucking about with some stuff in his home studio, but it was just too damn hot in his home studio, and he'd already spent 2 hours in there pre-recording tonight's show. So we ended up drinking cold drinks and talked about life instead. But there you go. So that was my bank holiday Monday. Jan's down at her mum's again because her brother's over. So. I'm on my Jack Jones at the moment, so I've been doing car-related things and doing bits and pieces. Went down to the allotment last night and gave it a good watering. I was going to go down there this evening, but I didn't get in until much later than planned, so I didn't end up going. And even then, so I had to rush through my dinner and then got down here at the last moment. Okay, let's just check there's not anybody else joining us before I pass it round to M7ICY. Anybody else want to join the Cray Valley Monday evening top band there? Station with uniform in the call? That's Mike 7, Mike Whiskey uniform, Simon. Yeah, you're very, very quick for the call sign and you're not terribly strong. Is anybody else hearing that station better than me?
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, it was Mike 7, Mike Whiskey uniform, and it's Simon. Right, let me just switch off.
Yeah, especially with uniform in the call sign. Do you want to give us the call sign a couple of times again? Because you're not that strong.
Yeah, Guy, it's Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform. Simon, Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform. Back to you.
Yeah, Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform. Simon, a very good evening to you. So I'm not... Oh, crikey, what on earth was that? Something just went bang around this, and I don't know what it was. That didn't sound terribly clever. Everything seems to be working still. What on earth was that crack? Goodness. Yeah, that was kind of worrying. I wonder if the... I wonder if the Vanguard's still going to work. Well, it's kind of in the Vanguard.
The Vanguard doesn't have the HT switched on when it's in standby. Okay, Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform, Simon. I think you're one of the guys who took the foundation in the last course, and if so, welcome to the top band net. It's not a particularly well attended top band net tonight. You've got Dave, M7 IPY stroke portable, who's at Dartford Heath. Frank, G3WMR, who's at sort of, I guess, Bexley way. And Mark, M0JCF, who, just to confuse us all, is running AM. Rest of us running single sideband. But yeah, nice. And this is Guy, G0UKM. So very, very nice to hear you on for the first time. And I've added you to the list. So I'm not sure whereabouts you are, but thanks very much for joining. M7 Mike Whiskey Uniform, Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November. Yeah, Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November. It's Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform, Simon. I think this is probably beyond my antenna capability at the moment. I only swung it up very recently, and so yeah, probably stretching the capability of it just at the minute. Yeah, I think you've been keyed. Okay, I didn't catch the end of that. As I say, you're there, and you're on the list, but it's just really a little bit difficult to copy from here. Got quite a lot of noise, but I'll pass it around to the others and see if anybody else is hearing you better than I am. So I guess I'll pass it round to Frank, hasn't said anything for a while. Round to you, Frank. G3WMR, G0UKN.
Yeah, G0UKN. And the group G3WMR. Everyone's reasonably readable. I have to go on to AN for Mark, obviously, but Mark's very good on AN. I'm on SSB now, I hope. LSB, yeah. I'm not really used to this radio. I only ever use it for top band. It's an ICOM 756 Pro 2, and I use it simply because it's got a built-in ATU, which is essential for coming on this frequency. The slightest variation in frequency on top band needs a major retune. I have actually got a manual ATU in the loft and another auto ATU in the loft, but I'm using the one built into the radio at the moment. Anyway, everyone's there. Simon, good signal. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform. Very good signal. I heard you well on the call-in, and but I didn't quite get your location. My location is Bexley, Jordan's Wood, Bexley to be precise. It's not really Bexley Village. It's administratively it's in Dartford, like the Heath where Dave is sitting. So. I don't know who I pass it to now. I don't know. I was going to pass it to you, Guy, because you were next last time round. Anyway, I haven't heard much from IPY recently, but I'll pass it back to you, Guy, and you can say who it's going to is, Homer.
Yeah, put it round to IPY. Round to you, Dave.
To answer the first question, around point, 59++, into the station here. I'm just up from the Houses Road, which goes over to Eddystone. So I'm about, I'm in the smaller of the two car parks that has got, as you say, the high switch. I'm on that one. But in my experience, it's going to be slightly quieter than the other one that faces the Sky and Mark. Unfortunately, I can't hear Mark still, and I still can't hear, I believe it's M7, something other. I know Simon is the other operator's name. Checking by listening on the Derby 160 SDR, so that I can hear myself more clearer than I can on the radio, which I know is technically cheeky, but hey, I like to think it's a real crowd. The sun's going down, there's a nice breeze there coming through the car, so hopefully the signal might start picking up soon. So I'm now going to pass it round now to that guy. He's the conductor for the Simon St. David. CVRS UK is the place for Mike Thomas in the Valley.
Who did you pass it to, Dave? I didn't catch who you passed it to. This is not the greatest net in the world. So let's restart. Let's restart the list with a proper order. So I'll pick it up now and I will pass it to JCS, JCS to IPY, IPY to WMR, WMR to MWU. So I'll say that again. It'll be me, then JCS, then IPY, then WMR, then MWU. I'm really struggling with everybody except for Frank and Mark here, which is a little bit annoying, and even Mark at times, because I have to use the RIT with Mark to follow him about. But ho-hum, that's his life. Worse things happen at sea. Okay, right. I will put it round to Mark, JCS. Wonder if you still copy okay. M0 JCS, G0 UKN in the group. We'll try and start an order now. There's a few of us.
Yeah, G0 UKN M0 JCF. Well, I had it down like the running order, and you went ahead and then passed it around after you to IPY, and then it went back to me, and that's when it all got out of order. But that's all right. That's all right. We're all here. That's all that matters. And a very good evening to Simon M7MWU. If you can hear me, Simon, I'm on AM. And I know your QRZ page just says you're in London, and you've got the locator set at the other side of the River Thames up Hammersmith way. I think that's the default locator for if you haven't filled it in. So I'm not too sure where you are, but yeah, I'm Mark, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. I'm using just about 8 watts maximum from an old 1960s Codar AT5, and I'm using an Eddystone 840C receiver. So there's a lot of convoluted switching. My SWR is very high. I'm not using a tuner tonight on the transmit side, which is what's probably making my signal a little bit weak to everyone. But there's no meter on this radio, but I estimate you, Simon, as 5 and 9. So despite the antenna, you think it's compromised for 160, I can actually hear you 5 and 9. Likewise, I can see you, I can see Dave, IPY. In fact, I can see everyone on the Derby SDR. And that's quite remarkable, seeing as we are still in full daylight, and the grey line is now passing through France. It's just a next here from the English Channel, so we are still just before sunset. So you know, the fact that we're getting off the ionosphere down into Derby is good in itself. Well, I've got not a lot more to say really. I know, Guy, you said you was out today, sitting under a tree listening to the wireless, etc. I'm going out with Joe tomorrow. We're going to take the dog as well. We're going down to Deal. We go down to Deal a couple of times a year. I quite like it down there. It's not a bad little town. A bit of a shingle stony beach, which isn't ideal. I'm not sure that I'd want to take kids there, you know, you can't build sandcastles. But we know there's a nice little restaurant down there, so what we tend to do is take the drive down there, have a walk around, go and have something to eat, go and sit on the beach, throw stones into the water, try and empty out the beach of all the stones and pebbles back into the sea, and I've never managed it yet. And then from that point we jump back in the car and come home again, and that will fill up tomorrow. So tomorrow, plenty of sun cream, wearing a hat, take a parasol or something with us, just for Frank the dog. He's a Dachshund because he's a Frankfurter, and we'll sit him under the parasol as well. But he does like to get down to the water's edge and play with the waves. It's quite comical, and you'd think he'd have learnt by now after a couple of years of doing that he ain't going to stop it. And that's it really. So that'll be me day tomorrow. But generally, when I haven't been on the radio or doing radio related stuff, I've been doing DIY around the house. The awning had to come down off the wall out the back. You know, we got a south facing garden, so we needed shade. So a couple of years ago I put an awning up. Well, it had managed to wrench some of its rule bolts out of the wall, so they all had to be reseated. And blah blah blah, you know, just you know, usual maintenance stuff. That's what I've been doing. A little bit of socialising, and that's it. And oh yeah, that was the other thing, Guy. Yeah, just to remind you, I do remember on Thursday saying I would. I've seen your email that come out, was it today, about June the 3rd. I'm going to try and get down there early, barring any mishaps. I want to get down there early. I'll bring me gloves, I'll bring some secateurs, I'll bring some shears. I don't know about a strimmer, if you need a strimmer, but it is mains powered, so it's not battery or petrol. And you just let me know. Otherwise I'll just bring some hand tools and have a bit of a shovel around for you, that sort of thing, and do a couple of hours for you. So anyway, I'm handing it round now, aren't I, to Dave, Mike 7 IPY from M0JCF, but he may not hear me, Guy. You may have to shout out to him.
Mark, you're much lower on frequency, so I don't know if the others will have heard you. I imagine Frank probably brought you in, but I had to use the RIT to go right the way down. Round to Dave, M7 IPY, picking it up. From Group 0 UKN. I've actually worked out that Mark is in AM, and I can actually hear him in AM, but not obviously on that one. Obviously, partly on lower side band, but it does, but this is a breakthrough for me. I just to work out what was going wrong and why I couldn't hear Mark. He's not as far as I can make out, Mark isn't making it into the Derby SDR, whereas yourself and Frank are mixing it, and I'm only picturing it as far as I can make out. I'm actually, when I'm talking, I'm actually twiddling around on it. But unfortunately, Simon, N7, WNU, I still haven't picked up the fault line yet. I'm afraid I can't hear him whatsoever. But anyway, I've been really learning today. Bright sunlight, hot temperatures, it doesn't help hot band, does it? But you know, I'm a newbie here. I've also been chasing everybody frequency-wise, because everyone seems to be on a skating rink on the radio frequency ice rink at the moment, and everyone seems to be transmitting on a different frequency. So all in all, a learning mix for me.
I think my turn is to pass it round to our plane. So if I've got this wrong, let me know. But I think now I have to hand it down to our plane. So G3WMR to take from M7IBY sitting on there with me. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, from G3 WMR, yeah, I heard myself coming through Derby. Owner is satisfied. You were romping through Derby there, Dave, absolutely romping through. I was assuming it was going to be ground wave. I don't know if it's too far for ground wave, but I wouldn't have thought there was any sky wave until after dark. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know enough about top band propagation, but it's quite surprising that we're getting through quite well. Well, I'm going to turn it off because it's distracting me currently. Hit the mute button, that's it. Yeah, I've been out in the sunshine all day. Usual place where I go to top up my tan, not far from the village of Falcombe, which is the only village in that area that's actually pronounced the way it's written. And I've been in and out of the swimming pool all day at the place where I've been, so I'm not complaining. I was there Friday, Saturday. I should have been there yesterday, but didn't get sorted out early enough to get a good parking space, so I had a day at home catching up yesterday, which included sorting out the aerial for this escapade, so it wasn't a wasted day. It was a break from the monotony of going out and sitting in the sun and paddling in and out of the swimming pool. I say paddling because I haven't actually swum in there yet. I've sort of waded around up to my middle just to keep cool, but I haven't actually subjected my lungs to any frightening manoeuvres like getting cold. But it's been pretty good, and it's supposed to be even hotter tomorrow, so I'm over St Mary Cray tomorrow for my lunch, and then I shall be back out in the sunshine again soon after that. Anyway, welcome to Simon. There's a very good signal with me. I haven't got your location, Simon, but as I'm passing it to you, I will have my ears all agog for a location. So I'm midway between Bexley Village and Swanley, N7MWU and the Cray Valley Net, G3WMR.
Yeah, Simon, are you still with us? M7MWU, G0UKN? I'm not hearing him at all now, Frank, are you?
No, I think it's gone off.
Yeah, one more shout. Are you still with us, Simon? No, nothing heard at the moment. Okay, I will pick it up. But I wasn't getting a great signal from Simon, but I don't know where he is, and let's say it's, as Mark pointed out, it's a bit, it doesn't really make sense what it says on KRZ.com at the moment. He's probably only just made the entry. So we will no doubt find out at a club meeting, unless he pops back, maybe a phone call or something. Yeah, Mark, you were a lot off frequency on that last over. It sort of, I had to wang the clarifier right the way around to work you, whereas everybody else, the clarifier is at 12 o'clock. But, yeah, it sounds like a good deal in and out of swimming pools, Frank. And my wife is down in Lymington at the moment with her mum and her brother, and her and her brother went to the Lymington Lido this afternoon and had a nice swim there. the largest seawater Lido in the country. It's 110 metres long by 50 metres wide. It is truly enormous. And it wasn't that busy at all, and you think people would be flocking to something like that. But there you go. So yeah, there was a fair few people there, but it wasn't stupidly busy. So not too bad at all. Still don't know what that crack noise was earlier. Very, very strange. I've no idea what it was. But everything seems to work and nothing seems to be broken. I quickly went up because I wondered if it was something in the HRO that I would be using on the AM section. Not that I think we'll probably stick around for an AM section tonight, because the signals are not, I don't think, strong enough, and I know you don't do it normally, Frank, and you're the strongest person here, so we'll probably knock that one on the head tonight. Dave, I was able to get every word you said on the last over, so I don't know if it's as the sun's going down or whatever, or what's going on, but regards Derby, I would think we would have to be skywave to Derby. There's no way we would be getting through to Derby on ground wave, Frank. Knowing, you know, just thinking about how far ground wave goes on medium wave with huge amounts of kilowatts, you'd struggle to hear a local station in Derby until after dark, wouldn't you? Normally, or at least until sort of sunset. So I think it must be skywave, and it just must be quite a good area on that SDR. Okay, one more call for Simon, see if you're there, otherwise I'll pass it back round to Mark. I wonder if you're back with us, Simon. M7NWU, G0UKN.
Nothing heard. Round to you, Mark.
Okay, M0 JCF, let's just check my frequency. Stand by. I think I'm better on frequency now. I was using an external frequency counter. I'm probably more on frequency now. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a challenge, isn't it? Top band, especially top band in the daytime. It's a bank holiday, or, you know, like rather, you know, it was a bank holiday. It's all gone now, hasn't it? But, you know, it's a holiday week, I suppose. The schools are off and everything. Yeah, it's always going to be a challenge. And then, you know, I'm hoping that Simon hasn't blown it out as, you know, buggered out, I ain't doing that anymore. Because, yeah, I think it's a perseverance thing. This is why now I don't do the LSB anymore, unless I went to a different radio. You know, this AT5 gets an outing once a month, and I'm sort of maximising it. Maybe a little bit selfish, because obviously, you know, people have got to swap backwards and forwards. And like, if you're using the 2000B guy, I know you haven't got the AM, you know, so you don't even have the luxury that Dave and Frank have both got of switching to AM. But, you know, yeah, it got a little bit messy. There's not many of us on, but I still think it's brilliant, because, as I say, I'm getting the chance to use, you know, the gear that doesn't see the light of day from one month to the next. So, yeah, I suppose from a selfish point of view, maybe what we should do is, do you remember I set up a group, didn't I? I set up a group, it must have been last year, in WhatsApp, and it was purely for anyone who owns an AT5, but we never took it any further than the WhatsApp. Right, well, I'm looking at the map, and the grey line is now passing us, so we are at sunset. And the darkness is another hour behind us, isn't it? Interestingly, I looked at the grey line yesterday, and I actually spoke to someone in Brazil. And when I traced the line on the map from me to him in southern Brazil, it's Maurizio. I've spoke to him quite a few times. Can't remember his call sign, if you bear with me. Oh yeah, Papa Yankee 5, Mike. And my green line went from my call sign line to his call sign, right down the centre of the grey line. So it proved, well, it didn't prove anything, but you know, it was nice to see, because you know, the grey line gave me a great path to South America, and there was my signal following the grey, you know, the grey line. I know that's cobblers, because you know, your signal doesn't follow a straight line. You know, I'm using omnidirectional antenna. My signal's going everywhere around the world. It's just enhanced in certain areas. Anyway, with that mouthful of rubbish over with, yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, I don't mind the fact that you're not going on AM. I've used AM. I think it's probably a good call, guy, that you know, we don't hammer it to death. Hopefully I did tune in the AT5 a bit more. As I say, it's a lot of valve gear here. You know, got the AT5 and power supply sitting on top of the Eddystone, which is obviously a valve radio, and you know, the AT5 is into a bit of a, well, it might as well be a coat hanger. But I think, yeah, going on what you're saying as well, I would say, yeah, it is Skywave. And we are, you know, we was coming up to the grey line, so it was coming up to sunset. So probably you'll find that the D layer, although probably still energized by the sun, the D layer was probably already collapsing anyway. So anyway, just my take on it. I'm no expert. What do I know about propagation? So I'm going to hand it round to Dave, and hopefully Dave can hear me this time. M7 IPY M0 JCF in the Cray Valley group.
I can actually hear you here on Delta Nick. I've had to re-center, yeah, I was clarifying and then managed to come off clarifier, and now I've had to retune to 1908, so hopefully everyone can hear me again now. But what a challenge tonight. I don't think any of us were on the same frequency. Oh man, not bad. You really do have to work for it. When it works, it's a great technical accomplishment, and I'm quite proud that I'm sitting here still struggling. I've got these monster great big radials all taken out from the car, 14 foot in each direction. Does it make any difference? Probably not, but at least I'm trying. But oh man, well, you certainly earn your money, didn't you, on top band, trying to get gear working. I can understand the fascination with AM. Mark's modulation on AM, I really like. That sounds really, really clear. I can't actually even see myself on, oh, that's because my phone's crashed. I can't even see myself on a Derby anymore, but that's because it's paused. It's not crashed, it's paused itself. So, oh man, we worked hard tonight. I'm going to pass it now round to our Frank, who's going to boom in at 5++. Over to you, Frank, D3WMR, 57IPY.
Right, Mike 7IPY, the Cray Valley Net, G3WMR. Returning on 1907.97 on this radio at the moment for the best audio. The thing about this kind of net is you tend to be tuned into whoever last transmitted. I suppose I could use the clarifier if I knew where the hell it was on this, but as it's getting dark around me in the room, and I haven't got the eyesight to read the front panel of the radio that well now, without shining a torch on it. I don't know where the oh, there it is, yeah. RIT, whatever they call it, yeah. I'm not particularly an icon person. I like Yaesu radios. What I particularly don't like about the icon is it doesn't have a click stop 1 kilohertz button. On the Yaesu, I hardly ever use the main dial at all. I nearly always use the small sub-dial click stop thing, which automatically jumps to the nearest kilohertz most of the time anyway, so I never have to worry about all these point bits of the kilohertz that goes back to this old technology of top band. Well, for those of you who don't know, there used to be a thing called the Sunday Evening Net in this area for many, many years. It was a combination of North Kent and Cray Valley people, including such luminaries as G6HD, G2FNT, Laurie, of course, FAA, a few others, and that used to be a mixture of SSB and AM. And poor old Cyril, who lives just down the road from me, almost stone throwable down the road, if I came up on SSB, his radio just went berserk, and he took most of the over finding out which way to tune me in, I think. Most of them were on AM, and I didn't have an AM transmitter at that time. I had a Yaesu, which I've still got, an FT301S, and that had SSB and CW only, basically. It didn't have, it wasn't the AM model. It was an FT301 that had AM, but mine was an S, which didn't. And I had to use SSB to join in that net, and I confused all the old timers, big time, or old time, big time. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I'm going to make this my last because I have got things to do, including paying for one of my mobile phones before tomorrow, and a few other little jobs like that, and some phone calls to return. So it's 8 o'clock now, so well, it is according to the front of the radio, but is it according to my... No, it's not. It's 20:55 according... 9 o'clock rather. It's 20:55. Oh well, the radio isn't obviously internet linked clock on it, so it needs setting. I'll do that sometime when I find out how to do it. So, in this instance, I'm now going to pass it round to Guy again, because it looks like Simon has gone. But if you're there, Simon, come in. Otherwise, round to Guy. But I won't come back after this one. Very good night to everyone. See you whenever I... Or see you next. Cheers.
Yeah, Simon, just M7 MWU. Are you back with us? G0 UKN listening for you.
Yeah, G0 UKN M7 MWU receiving.
Yeah, okay. We called you on the last round and didn't get anything from you, so I guess you might have had a phone call. But take it over, Simon. Over to you, sir.
Well, thanks very much, Guy. I don't know who can hear me. It's probably the second time now that I've actually had a QSO. Yesterday I put up my end-fed antenna and connected everything up and had one QSO with a contact in the other side. But I thought I'd join the net this evening to listen in. I'm struggling a bit, I think, to tune everything in here on the top band. So yeah, it's going to be one for the project, I think. Over.
Yeah, M7 MW G0 UKN. Yeah, to be honest with you, it is a hard band to operate on for multiple reasons. So nice one on getting up here and making a few contacts. So it's hard work because it's noisy. You know, if you think about where the frequency is, it's very close to medium wave, so quite low frequency. And you get a lot of electrical noise, a lot of hassle with that sort of stuff. So you're hearing people, so that's a big plus. And then transmitting wise, getting something to tune, you need to stick quite a lot of wire in the air. And nobody has a perfect aerial on top bands. It's always a compromise. I'm luckier than most. This aerial's actually resonant on this frequency, and I don't need to use tuner. So, and it really shows with the signals I put out, because ERP-wise, it gives out probably a lot than
a lot more effective radiated power to actually power out the aerial than a lot of other things might do, which are less effective, but do still radiate after a fashion. Mark's using a long wire. Dave is using a loaded whip on the top of his car. You know, when you think a quarter wave on this frequency is what 40 meters long. Yeah, it's a whip on top of the car is going to be a huge compromise, but it seems to work. And our rule of thumb, you might have heard me mention the Derby SDR. There's a computer interface receiver up near Derby, which listens to top band, and you can tune it in. There's loads of these SDRs around the world, but that's quite a good one for listening to top band. I haven't got it in my phone at the moment, which I've managed to leave my phone up on the house, so I'll tell you what the URL is. But no doubt Mark on the next over will tell you what the URL is. And just to confuse you tonight, Mark's using AM and the rest of us are using SSB. And of course, like you probably learned, of course,
SSB is simply AM with the carrier and one of the sidebands removed. So I'm resolving him quite happily on single sideband. Others are switching to AM, but the rig I'm using doesn't have an AM position. When we play AM, I normally go over to the real heavy metal. You know, sort of 60 kilograms of 1950s cut to use AM. So this particular rig doesn't have an AM position. But I'm glad you persevered and made the contact, which is superb stuff. Right, thank you for still listening. Thanks very much for joining, and speak to you next time. And yeah, good to hear all's going well there. Right, round to Mark. M0JCF in the Cray Valley group for sort of one more round. G0UKN, over.
Yeah, G0UKN, M0JCF in the Cray Valley top band net, which is a complete mix and mash, and why not? And Simon, yeah, if you can hear me, M7WMU, yeah, I did try to tell you last time, you may have heard, you may not. Well done for getting on the top band net. Yeah, I'm only using AM. I'm very selfish. I'm using old 1960s and 1950s kit, and it only gets an outing once a month, so I maximise it. So I'm very selfish. I've started refusing to use lower sideband, but all things considered, you know, it seems to be working. Interestingly, Guy, I can see myself quite bright on Derby now. You was very bright on Derby, but you were coming and going, and now I'm coming and going. Look, I faded away. Oh, and I'm back again. There's definitely some proper medium wave fading going on now, and it's interesting you said we're very close to medium wave. Well, in fact, we are in medium wave, aren't we? Because we're below 3 kilohertz, so we're actually in the medium wave band. But the amateur side, for those that are keeping up, the grey line is now into Wales, so where we are, and straight through up to Derby now, we are at the grey line. I'm not sure this low down how well the grey line works. Obviously it works in the higher HF bands, it works very well, because you've got that lovely twilight zone, haven't you, between the D layer collapsing and but still having propagation through the F layers that are starting to combine. And after that, well, who knows, because I very rarely operate at night anymore. I do miss the old shortwave listening days. I sometimes do it. I break out the Eddystone and I have a tune around and listen to all the weird and wonderful things around the world. But thanks, Guy. I meant to mention it right at the beginning. That, yeah, the 101E. Yeah, thanks for that. It's very much appreciated. But all in good time, you know. Just don't drop anything to get it done just when you can. but just be aware, if you've got that regulator board in and you wind up a variac, you will start hearing the hiss. As I say, I've replaced several diodes, looking at the diagram. What I thought was the correct diodes, but who can tell? Who can tell? It was semi-poking open, semi looking at the diagram. Well, anyway, yeah, I like to waffle on, as you might know, but I'm going to call it a day. I will make this final. I will say very best 73. As I say, I live streamed this on one of the Facebook groups for the last hour, and out the corner of my eye I did notice people popping in and out to watch. Whether anyone attempted to call in, no one's dropped me a message or commented on the live feed that you know, that they were watching us or trying to call in or anything like that. Just saying, I think I only mentioned once that we was on 1.908 or thereabouts. But let's have a look. No, I've just checked the video, and I'm not even sure if the video's finished, but anyway, doesn't matter. It was there. And what I'll do is I'll do the usual. I'll download it and I'll stick it. Oh no, it says I'm live. I'll download it. I'll stick it on YouTube. Guy, I'll send you the link, and you can obviously analyse it at your pleasure. Well, I'm going to hand it round to Dave M7IPY for the final time. Have a great month, everyone. But remember, today it's only 7 months to Christmas. In a month's time, it will be the longest day, then winter's drawing in, and all the other doom and gloom things I can think to tell you now to let you switch off later and think about it, because I'm a miserable old sod. M7IPYM0JCF to take in the Grey Valley group.
With a very swift, professional-looking nose shift. So I'm now in lower sideband now. On the last over from Simon, M7 MWU. I heard him here in Dartford, so wherever he is, he's doing well. Hopefully he can hear me as well. Actually, maybe we can confirm that. M7 MWU, this is Mike 7, Italy Papa Yankee. Are you there? Mike 7, Italy Papa Yankee, M7, Mike Whiskey Uniform. Yeah, receiving you. Quite low, I would say. Probably my setup, 3 and 3 at this stage. Over. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Uniform, Mike 7, IPY returning. Well, all I'm going to say is really well done. If your first QSO was yesterday on 10 metres, which is the very top of the HF band, really well done, man. You cracked it. All you got to do is all the bands in between now. I guess my cap. It's really hard work. I'm an M7 as well, and the only way that I can work top band is by doing going mobile. I've got such a noisy environment at home, particularly around this frequency, 1905 to 1907. I have like a massive noise bang. There's no other word for it. It's brutal. And so hence the reason I have to come out. But that's awesome, you've made it. Well done. I'm doffing my cap, even if you can't see me doing it. Brilliant net tonight, even though it's technically very hard. I worked out that when we all transmit on the correct frequency in the correct mode, it makes things a lot easier. That needs to go in the syllabus. Thanks again to everyone for a good net. I can hang around if anyone wants to try AM, but if not, I'm going to pack up and go back home, because it's still pretty warm out here. Passing it round now to Guy, G0 UKN, with Mike 7 IPY in the 160 metre Grey Valley net.
Yeah, just having moved the microphone up, right? Yeah, M7 IPY.
UKN with M7 MWU. And yeah, from first QSO yesterday to working top man today is yeah, tip hat and touches forelock reverently, I think is the word. Really impressed, Simon. So more power to your elbow, sir.
Okay, well, I will call it an evening. It's very, very hot and muggy in the workshop here because there's lots of valves and things around me. Thanks very much for coming up. There was only 5 of us tonight, but very, very enjoyable. Signals weren't great ground wave-wise. Struggled at times, but was hearing you all in the end. And interesting that virtually everybody could be seen on Derby. So the signals were getting around the country one way or the other. Okay, Simon, Mark, Dave, and anybody else who's listening, any shortwave listeners, this is Golf Zero Uniform Kilo November, tying the ribbons on the Cravo monthly top down net. No AM section this week. But Simon, I'll send you a picture of the AM top band lineup so that you can see what I mean about how big it is, etc. All right, folks, do it all again next month. Oh, I'm not sure. No, I won't actually be here next month, so somebody else can call out if they see fit. I'm actually on my summer holidays this time at the. Hang on, let's think about it. End of May, I'm on my summer holiday, so won't be around. Then of course there will be one less AM broadcast station this time next month. So anybody listening, do listen out. So yes, when you can, GB198LW, because I will be listening on the Friday night when Droitwich goes off the air. Huge mistake by the BBC and by the British government to not reinvest in long wave. But there you go, that's just my view. Cheers, the beers, catch you all later. Cheers, Simon, cheers, Mark, cheers, Dave. Golf Zero Uniform Kilo November signing.
Again at JCS. We're all proud of one another. Bye-bye for now. 70.
Yeah, M7 and Mark Whiskey Uniform. Thanks very much, guys, for welcoming me tonight. And, I'm Roger. So, see you next time. Cheers. Cheers and beers all.
Yeah, Dave, M7IPY. Dave, M7IPY. If you're still on frequency and you can get on AM, just a quick one, just motorbike chat, that's all. So I'm just listening once more for M7IPY from M0JCF. Okay, nothing was heard. I didn't expect him to hear me. Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot is now QRT. Frequency clear for use. Frequency is clear for use.